Hi, y'all. I am so excited about our next person that we're going to be interviewing. Her name is Sara Illig. Illig. Hey, I even practiced this with her, and I have been so nervous about saying it that if I'm not going to do it on a recording, I will say it beautifully, but we're running with it. But Sara is the owner and a therapist of Emotional Freedom.me, correct? .me.
Correct.
And after decades of exploration in energy, psychology, sciences, and the healing arts, Sara discovered a perfect body mind medicine emotional freedom technique, which is EFT. And in 2005, she began offering professional services using this effective modality. So, together with EFT and the transformational life coaching, she draws in over 25 years of experience of massage therapy, as well as voice dialogue, reevaluation counseling, meditation, and breath work. So, my goodness, you do a little bit of everything. All right,
I
I'm excited.
do. I do. Um, I like to say that I was born a traumatized person, like so many others. And first, let me say that I am just so thrilled and so happy to be here with you at
Thank
this
you.
summit. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you.
Um,
So yeah, go ahead and let's take this time. I introduced you, but I want you to tell me about your background and just go ahead and dive in with that.
so my mother was a consciousness worker and a little bit of an energy worker pioneer. She taught um, meditation techniques and things like that in the basement of our house. And I sat in on her classes from a very early age. So she was doing things like muscle testing and teaching alpha levels of consciousness. And I was learning how to meditate by the time I was about 5 years old. Um, it didn't really stop trauma. Um, there were some identifiable early age events that I was in with my mother, for instance. I was in an accident with my mother and my sister at age 5, whereupon my mother broke her spine in 6 places. And that really changed our family life, and it changed my childhood dramatically. And I wasn't able to get some of the early age attention that I needed from her after that time. So I was in for some really rough adolescent years. And I was actually married and divorced before the age of 16 years old.
Wow.
So by the time I was 17, I was wise enough to recognize, even I was wise enough to recognize that I needed some help. And I began a journey of self help. And I started reading books in every direction that I could find. I started going to 12-step programs. And by the time I was 19, I was doing things like reevaluation counseling. And in my 20s, I started dabbling in other healing arts and I got into rebirthing. And that's when I started my massage career.
Okay.
Um, so late in my late 20s is when I ran into voice dialogue, which is what gave me my platform of studying subpersonalities, which is really super important work to do with psychological work with people. And then in my 30s, my sister came along in 2005 and introduced me to emotional freedom techniques. So ever since then, I found that to be the most effective work that I had done with trauma so far.
Mhm.
And that's when emotionalfreedom.me was born.
Love it.
Hmm.
So, where does trauma begin?
So, if I give you my most honest answer, I think trauma begins in the womb and it begins in previous generations. It begins with our ancestors who pass it down from generation to generation. I think that it's passed down from at least 7 generations previously, and at least more potently the last 3 generations. You can look at it in experiments with mice, with the cherry blossom experiments, where mice were exposed to the beautiful aroma of cherry blossoms and then given electric shock therapy. And the offspring of these mice had adverse reactions to the beautiful aroma of cherry blossoms, and so did the grandchildren. And so it was very apparent that the shock had been transmitted down generation to generation. And there's been recent studies as well in humans, as recent as 2016, where Holocaust survivors, their offspring have suffered elevated levels of PTSD and depression. But really, I want to fast forward a little bit to the disassociation and the disconnection that occurs in early childhood, that occurs as a stress response from rejection by our parents. And I'm talking about like not getting our needs met. I'm talking about when our parents don't pick us up, um, when they let us cry ourselves to sleep, when they push us down and they push us off. We're getting little traumatized messages.
Mhm.
Okay. We're getting messages like, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve love. The world's not safe for me. Um, I have to earn love. The list goes on. And these are little traumatizing messages, right? And they're destabilizing and they dissociate us. And they are encoded in our nervous system. Okay. And so these messages later become a part of our identity as our needs aren't met. They become a part of our identity so that when events do finally occur, as they absolutely do come along and they shock us
Mhm.
and leave imprints that we have to recover from, um, we're more easily tipped over the edge when those events occur,
Understand.
right?
Right.
So to revisit these early imprints is really truly it's priceless.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes. So, how do I know if I'm traumatized? Can you explain a little bit about that?
sure. Let's look first let's identify if you've been through an event that's traumatizing. Okay, an event um, will have gone beyond your expectations.
Mhm.
Okay, it makes no sense to you. It leaves shock, and there's no way to help yourself. Okay, that's a traumatizing event. Um, but the way to know that you're traumatized is ask your body. Ask your body. You're going to have symptoms, right? You're going to have symptoms. You're going to be easily startled. You're going to have trouble concentrating. You're going to be irritable. You might have trouble sleeping, things like that. So ask your body if you're traumatized. Your body will tell you. You might also be stuck on repeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right? Is everything on automatic and are you stuck on repeat? So neurons that fire together wire together. Okay. When an event happens, your neurons fire together and we get stuck on repeat. It's called neuroplasticity.
Mhm.
So as a memory continues, um, neurons fire, and here we have neurons firing, and it invites other neurons to come in and fire, and we get a neural band going, and it creates what is called a neural relationship, like a long-term neural relationship. Okay, we've got a whole band involved,
Yeah.
and it eventually creates a neural network. And eventually, that neural network is like telling you this is how it is all the time, this is reality. And that reality becomes your identity. This is how I am, this is how it is, this is how I am. So, what we want to do is we want a chance to interrupt that long term relationship and break this bond and give these neurons a chance to interrupt and go and reconnect somewhere else, right? You want to give it a chance to do something else. Now, in addition to that, we've got a chemical addiction going on
Mhm.
in our brains where we have a very we've got a chemical addiction to our mental state going on where our cells get bombarded with chemicals. So you have a cell that has billions of receptors on it, and our emotions that we're on repeat with our neurons going on repeat
Mhm.
that have a chemical signature to them. So our emotions have a chemical signature to them. Anger has a chemical signature to it. Happiness has a chemical signature. Joy, jealousy. Okay. And as we have these chemical signatures to it, the hypothalamus is up there secreting peptides, and the pituitary gland releases these peptides into the bloodstream. And these peptides come down and they lock into receptors on the cells. And these receptors receive information from the peptides. And these instruct the cell all the way down to the nucleus of the cell. It instructs the cells to crave more chemicals
Mhm.
so that when this cell divides, the new sister cell has more receptors on it designed for this chemical. So now this cell craves more anger or more joy,
Yes.
whichever chemical you're addicted to. You see how that works? So our minds continue to create a traumatized state beyond trauma, right? So the trick is interrupting the cycle with something effective.
Mhm.
And since most trauma is pre-verbal, or it comes from an event that we still often don't have words for it, or we can use words to describe sensations in our bodies, like this lump in my throat,
Mhm.
this shortness in my breath, this knot in my stomach. We
Yes.
can use wording like that to resolve the issue because the subconscious is really powerful
Mhm.
and it knows where to go.
Right.
Mhm.
I love that. Great explanation. So let's kind of dive into what you do, which is EFT. So,
Yeah.
what does tapping do?
Well, let me tell you that tapping tells your body that you're safe. Okay. So EFT is it's um, it's a combination of talk therapy and needleless acupuncture. Okay.
Yeah.
And instead of needles, you're using percussion and you're using your finger to send signals down the same energy channels that an acupuncturist would use. and it rebalances your energy system. Okay. So all the techniques for trauma out there are designed to help your body realize that it's safe. All right. It's
Did we freeze?
and it's constantly scanning our environment for threats.
Okay.
Okay. Scanning for threats. Drink water, scan for threats. Eat food, scan for threats. Sleep, scan for threats. That's your reptilian brain. Okay.
Okay.
That's your hind brain. On top of that, and it's not wired for language. Okay. It's pre-verbal. On top of that, you've got a midbrain. And it is wired for emotion. Mammals have a midbrain, but it's not wired for language. It's connected to the hindbrain. It gets encoded with emotion and it activates the hindbrain, but no language. Okay. Touch is meaningful very much to a traumatized hind and midbrain. Okay. But on top of that, we have the forebrain, the thinking brain, which is the language part of the brain. And that's about 100,000 years old. And you can logic and reason with that. Okay. So, what we're doing when we're tapping is with the combination of touch, we're settling with the hind and the midbrain. We're calming a traumatized hind and midbrain, the mammalian and the reptilian brains. Well, we're sneaking in with logic and reason with the talk therapy for the forebrain.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So, what are the points on the skin and how would I do that?
Okay. So the points on the skin are they're meridian points. They're highly conductive points that lie just, they're highly conductive energy points that lie just under the skin. They're 2,000-year-old points that are mapped that acupuncturists have been using.
Okay.
You can use a galvanometer, which is a scientific device that measures energy. And if you run it up and down the skin, it'll light up where the 2,000-year-old map is. So it's a real, yeah, it's a real map that they use. It's a real map that they use. Um, so what you're doing when you tap on your skin, you're sending a signal using piezoelectricity. And piezoelectricity is the same electricity that you use on a gas stove. When you click, click, click,
Mhm.
you're sending piezoelectricity. And when you tap, 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 you're sending electricity through your fascia and through your connective tissue, through your muscles, through your tendons.
Okay.
Okay. Fascia happens to carry signals actually faster than neurons fire. And so your body actually begins to respond very, very quickly.
Okay.
To do EFT, you want to pick something that is stuck on repeat, or you have an event or a negative memory
Mhm.
and you begin tapping about it. And as you begin tapping about it, the energy begins to discharge.
Mhm.
And highly emotionally events or charged events should begin to dissipate and discharge, and you become more calm and present.
Okay.
And physical feelings of being triggered can be described and released, like this black pit in my stomach, and things like that, or beliefs that you don't like, I don't like this thing about myself. That can be described and released
Okay.
if we're working with beliefs. But checking in with the body during the process to describe sensations or negative feelings. And then the emotional information just kind of softens and releases and begins to lift.
Wow.
You want to try it?
I do. I really do.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you have anything in your mind that you were thinking that do you have anxiety, or do you have anything that you're nervous about? Is there a particular event, person that you're nervous about talking to?
Oh goodness, that could be just about every interview. I go in nervous and I come out with a best friend, I feel. Um, let's see, what can we do on something that is a thought every day for me? Because of the trauma I went through, I lost people in my life and I miss them quite a bit. And one in particular, it's very tough not being able to see this person. And
Okay.
so sometimes I can dwell on that and it can give me anxiety.
Okay. When you miss this person, do you feel it? Can you call up that anxiety? Can you connect with that anxiety in yourself right now?
I can't, it's always right here. I always feel it right here. I always
In
call
your
it my
chest?
broken heart. It feels like a broken heart to me. It brings in quite a bit of anxiety right here, like a big old knot in my heart.
And okay, great. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10 at this moment in time, how big is that knot in your heart?
It's pretty bad right now. Last night I would say it was a 10. Right now it could linger about a 6 and a 7 if I will allow my thoughts to completely go to it. Last night I
It
was very triggered and I couldn't get my thoughts away from that loss.
so it can go up to a 10.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And so I just want to offer you right now, if for some reason you go up
Okay.
and this little time we spend together is not enough for you and you feel triggered after this session for any reason, you're welcome to contact me and I'm happy to help guide you through the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, let's not leave anything messy or anything like that, but let's just see what we can do in these few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Okay.
Okay. And so let's just say, so what I, so, hmm, so let's just start by tapping here
Okay.
and let's just say I have, and you're going to repeat after me
Okay.
to the degree that's true for you.
Okay.
And if it's not true for you, I'd like for you to edit my sentence to something that is true for you.
Okay.
Okay. And and if you don't feel comfortable saying something out loud right now, then instead of saying something out loud, I'd like for you to just say instead.
Okay. Okay.
And that way you can keep your privacy
Okay.
at the same time and you feel comfortable while we're working together right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay? Yeah. Just in case there's something private that we run into.
Okay.
Okay? The important thing is that we're contacting this anxiety and this feeling in your chest.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, I would just like you to say, this broken heart feeling in my chest.
This broken heart feeling in my chest.
I feel this knot in my chest.
I feel this knot in my chest.
I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even with this knot in my chest.
even with this knot in my chest.
Good, breathe. It's hard to love and accept myself
It is hard to love and accept myself
with this knot in my chest,
with this knot in my chest,
but I'm going to try to do it anyway.
but I'm going to try to do it anyways.
Good, breathe. Especially because
Especially because
mhm, I don't want to be brokenhearted.
I do not want to be brokenhearted.
Mhm. I'm willing to open my heart just a little.
I'm willing to open my heart just a little.
This broken knot feeling
This broken knot feeling
in my chest.
inside my chest.
Good, breathe. Let's go to the top of the head. This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
I forgive it for residing there.
I forgive it for residing there.
Mhm. Go down to the front of the eye, right above the eyebrow point. Yeah. This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
Good. And now go to the side of the eye. This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
I'm willing to let it lift.
I'm willing to let it lift.
Good. Go under the eye. This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
This knotted feeling in my chest.
This knotted feeling in my chest.
Good. This broken heart feeling in my chest.
This broken heart feeling in my chest.
Go under the nose. It's safe to let it subside.
It's safe to let it subside
Just a little.
just a little.
Breathe. This broken heart feeling in my chest.
This broken heart feeling in my chest.
Mhm. Yeah, on the chin. And now let's go down to the collarbone point. You see where I'm tapping there? Yeah, on the collarbone point. This knotted feeling in my chest.
This knotted feeling in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
And now let's go to the side seam of the body. I'm willing to feel safe in my body.
I'm willing to feel safe in my body.
This anxiety in my chest.
This anxiety in my chest.
Okay. And let's just let it rest there for a second. And let's just do a check-in with your chest.
Okay.
Right now, are you still at a 6 or a 7? Did it go up? Did it go down?
It's gone down.
Has it gone down?
It has gone down.
Okay.
It's gone down.
Okay. What is it at now?
Um, I don't feel the stabbing pain of that. So I would say, gosh, can this really work this quick? I'm like so excited. I would probably say a 3 or a 4. Can it fall
Okay.
that quickly?
Yes, it can because you're naming it and you're being precise. And had we said this stabbing pain, we could have been even more precise.
Mm,
If we had said the stabbing pain feeling in my chest.
okay.
And so we could have done another round on that. Do you Do you still feel tension? Like, what's the feeling in there right now?
The tension is not as strong as what it was because I can mention that thought and I can sometimes go from a 1 to a 10 just like that, just from thinking it and
Mhm,
allowing myself to waller in that situation that
mhm.
I cannot change. So I can quickly go from 0 or 1 to 10 fast.
Yeah. Emotions can change you in 1 or 2 seconds flat. That's how fast that trigger can happen,
Yes.
and, how fast those emotions can start that, relay race in your head, or that, replay race in your head is what I mean to say. That's how fast that trigger can go on. So, 1 to 2 seconds is how fast you can get triggered.
Oh, I love it. I
Um,
love this activity. I've never done this. So to actually experience it is amazing. It's just amazing.
so I'm so thrilled that you felt that in your body, and it's a very powerful tool for lifting very deeply rooted emotional distress and very deep traumas. And it's a beautiful tool that you can take home and you can use on yourself,
Yes.
and you can use it in the moment. And I'm so thrilled and excited that you found some good results with
Oh, I love it. I just want to tap now. I just want to tap. I just want
that.
thank you. I
You're
am
welcome.
thrilled that you walked me through this exercise. I'm really so excited that the our audience actually got to witness a little bit of what you do and to see
Mhm.
like, it can be instant feeling of more relief and I love that. So thank you for sharing that.
You're
And I'm
so
also
welcome.
gonna let everyone that is listening, you will have Sarah's contact information, and she's gonna draw for, all the ones that email her, and I'll have a name, I think we're gonna do my name. This will be under her video and her information, and when, the summit is over, she's gonna draw for a 30-minute session. So, can I put my name in for the session too?
Yes, please do. Please do. I'd love to.
I love it.
Uh-huh.
So thank you. I am so excited that you are a part of this, sharing your gifts and your talents. This was an amazing interview. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrice.
So we'll talk soon.
Okay.
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 Bye.
Okay. Bye.